And now we're live on YouTube. Let's do this thing. He wasn't ready. Is it ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Episode 95 of the Dugout. We're recording. We're pumped. We got our gear on. Game day. Let's do this. Florida State's already up. We're doing good. We're on a roll here. All right. We're recording. We're rolling. Let's do this, huh? Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Episode 95 of the Dugout. As I hit record, I'm getting another sales call. I bet you it's Quicken Loans again. Shout out to Quicken Loans. I don't know if it's for the best reason. This is bad publicity. Have you seen the commercial for Rocket Mortgage? I don't know if Quicken Loans owns Rocket Mortgage or they're just in cahoots, but I signed up for that Super Bowl contest that they've been promoting the last couple days. And ever since I did that, I've been getting 7 Quicken Loans calls a day, and I'm not even exaggerating. They are calling me nonstop. It's absurd. All right, everybody. So we're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. And if you're listening to the podcast, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe. Share it with your friends right now as we speak. First things first, if you watch my Instagram story, I kind of teased yesterday as a, hey, let's get this thing going. Saturday edition, special edition. It's game day. We're all excited. Let's get some drinks flowing, right? That's what I teased. Usually don't really condone that in the Dugout, but we've done it in the past before. We've done episodes with Kyle Smith and Trey D, who we need to get on the pod again sometime soon. And, obviously Barstool, they record themselves drinking all the time. So, let's have a little fun here. I have a basketball. And if you're watching on YouTube, I have a hoop behind me. I'm going to shoot. Oh, I didn't think I'm going to be tethered, though. I guess I can take the headphones off if I need to go get another ball. Maybe it'll just roll right back to me, and we'll get lucky. I miss. I drink. I make it. You all drink. I don't think I'm going to make it very often, and if you want to drink, I would just drink whenever you want, because I would just drink like every time Florida State scores. That would probably be a better game. Their offense played really well the other day, so we'll get into that more. All right, let's start this off. Brick, backboard. Can you? Not even close. All right. Cheers, everybody. I've got a little coffee. Shout out to the Hibblers. Love my Yeti mug, cup, thermos. What's this called? Sick 'em, everybody. Cheers. Got a little whiskey, rum, and Kahlua in my coffee here. So, it's actually not bad. Not like a hot coffee fan, so I always put ice cubes in my coffee. I don't know. Anybody else agree with that? Disagree with that? Maybe you do, so. It's actually pretty good. All right. Episode 95. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Glad we started off with that. I need to get, while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to get a couple more basketballs real quick. Please bear with me. Loading up the ammo. I still haven't decided. We're going to see how this goes live. If I'm going to edit the podcast more, or I'm just going to leave it. With live, you kind of just have to expect these things, I guess, right? But when you're recording the podcast, maybe I should jump out the awkward pauses. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how good of a mood I'm in. If the Rams and Baylor win, maybe I'll just edit my podcast all day. If they lose, I might just post it as is. A little inside scoop there. If you are watching on YouTube, you see my little decorations I got. It's actually the same as last week, except I added a little Rams hat. Because you can't really see the Rams logo on this hat that I'm wearing. I thought it'd be weird to wear a winter hat while recording a podcast inside. when it's like kind of hot in my room. So, all right, should we start talking about sports? Why not? Is that what you tuned in for? Or did you just tune in to laugh at me? Or with me? We'll see. All right. First things first. Actually, this isn't sports related either. First thing I have on the pod, Elon Musk, now the richest man on the planet. That is crazy. And what would you do if you were the richest? I actually don't know what he did in his personal time. But what he did publicly, I think is pretty cool. And I think we need more people humbled like this. I mean, you're the richest man on the planet. There's something like, there's some swag to that. There's few people, like you, the most popular, most handsome man who ever does, whenever they do that every year. Richest is pretty, I mean, because the other ones are like debatable. Richest, there's no debating. He's the richest man on the planet. Like most athletic. I was going to say, like, there's like LeBron's and Jordan, and like you could be Justin Bieber. You can be like super popular at a certain time, but richest man on the planet. That's pretty cool. And what does he do? Most of us would probably go live on Instagram, popping champagne, acting all crazy, right? Doing whatever you're doing in your Rolls Royce, or I don't even know, he probably has Teslas actually, but he just tweets, this is a quote, well, time to go back to work. Literally the day they announce he's the richest man in the world, like 2 hours later, he goes, well, time to get back to work. That's why he's the richest man on the planet. Because even when they announce that, it's just, well, let's go grind. Let's go get to Mars. What'd you do today? Oh, Elon Musk tried to get us to Mars. Yeah, that's why he's the richest man on the planet. It's like, people are like, what? Yeah, like, he's a good dude. I mean, you can just tell. I've never met him yet. But, you can, I think you can just tell sometimes when people are just good people. He seems like a genuine person. Speaking of genuine people, Dave Portnoy, he's up there on the list. Shouts. I don't think I can say shouts. That's the Ion College basketball thing. I've got to find my own way to shout people out. Another cool story. This one's actually sports related. Shout out. I can't say shouts. Shout out to Papa Francesco. If you don't know who that is, if you don't speak Italian, it's Pope Francis. And the Atlanta Hawks sent him a special edition Martin Luther King jersey. Very, very cool. On the front, it says MLK, number 1. It actually doesn't even say... here, if you're watching live, and if you're listening, across the chest, it doesn't say... Hawks, it says MLK, and on the back it says Francis with the number 1. Very cool. They videoed him opening it. He blessed the jersey, and here's just like a little quote from the Atlanta Hawks Twitter account that I copied down here. On Dr. King's birthday, they added the Pope, blessed our 2021 MLK Nike City Edition jersey to honor the shared commitment to making positive change in social equality, economic empowerment, and love. That's what we need in this world. We need more of this. We need more videos of the Pope blessing NBA jerseys, spreading peace and love. That's what I'm all about here, and that's, I hope, what most of you are too. I think that's something that we all need to get behind. It's a thing of people are getting angry at different causes, kneeling, standing, everything going on in D.C. It's like, you get mad. Don't get mad. Don't get mad at other people's reactions to things. Let's just hope for better. That's like the best way I can put that. Is you don't have to agree with everything NBA guys are doing. You don't have to agree with the Roman Catholic Church. But let's all just get... Like, whoever thought the NBA and the Pope would pair up to do something? Like, that's cool. You don't have to be Catholic, and you don't have to love the NBA. You don't have to love what NBA players are doing. You don't have to... Let's just spread love, though. Like, what? Why is that so difficult? I don't know. I don't know how, why, everyone's first reaction is anger and hatred and arguing. I don't know why we can't just Oh, that's your opinion. I don't agree with it. I think you're wrong, but you're not wrong. There's no right and wrong to most things. Um, my controversial opinion, I don't even, not even controversial. I was just gonna say, like, even that's gonna sound stupid. I don't know how to word this. Not that I don't believe in science, but even science and things we truly believe, it's all just we just made it up. We're just humans. We're all humans. Like desk. We just made this up. We just call it desk. It's just we just made a word that says desk, and we call it a desk, and we just believe it. And who knows? I mean, that's a terrible point, but terrible analogy to what I'm trying to get at. I'm not gonna go Joe Rogan and start talking about space and aliens, and I could, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. This is why I don't drink coffee. This is. Hmm. Florida State's up 53-43, if you're watching there. If I would have recorded this before the game started, I would have told you to take the points on Florida, minus, I think it was 3.5. I'll show you the screenshot of my FanDuel account when they win, if they win, because I did it. So there's my proof of, hey, you should have done it. Got a couple other games here, too, we'll get to, that you have in time. Like, here's another, two already. Just since I've been live streaming, this one is actually from New Mexico. I'm getting a sales call now. This is not Quicken Loans this time. I don't know, man. I just am getting so many sales calls from this Rocket Mortgage Quicken Loans. It's crazy. And so, I think I found a way, everybody. Next time I have a guest on, we're going to try to do it today, but I'm not sure if it's going to work out since I'm live. I found a way to add a guest to the live stream on YouTube. If we can do like a Zoom call or something, I'm going to have to try to figure out Facebook Messenger, or I think Zoom might be the easiest. Who has Skype anymore? Zoom kind of took over. I don't like the way Zoom looks, their layout, but I think it'll work. Do a little split screen action, and that was hard to figure out, but I did it last night, and that's also half the reason I'm going live today instead of yesterday. I spent the time I was going to podcast yesterday figuring out how to get a guest on, because I think having a guest on and you could see them talking would be much better than just their voice. So, a couple comments here from Kyle Hoff. I don't think he's live watching at the moment. He's popping in and out. Packers 42, Rams 3. You're wearing Packers colors on the day the Rams are playing in the playoffs. It's a Rams hat. These are Rams colors. These are Baylor colors. I tried to get the combo you see here. If you're watching on YouTube, you see my little hat that didn't really match as well. I have a neon Baylor shirt, basketball shirt from like 2012 that I think just would have looked terrible on camera. It was neon green or whatever they call it. Highlighter, whatever. So, all right, a couple more things off the top. I've got just some goofy stuff today because I knew this was going to be the kind of way it was going to roll. I'm sorry, I keep watching this game. This is why I don't put games on usually when I'm recording. Best meme. Dave's Dugout Best Meme Award. I was going to say of 2020, but I think they posted it in 2021. So, best meme I've seen all year, all 16 days of it. We're going to have an award here. The first official ever Dave's Dugout Award goes to Best Meme. I guess I should credit them. I don't remember who it was. It was like a college football account. It was a SpongeBob meme. I posted it twice on my stories and other things because I thought this was hilarious and true. Usually things are just either funny and stupid or funny and mean. This was funny and true. It was SpongeBob. If you remember the old episode, this is back in the day when SpongeBob was just, I don't know, just getting going or super popular. It's still super popular, but Sandy, was her name Sandy Cheeks? Am I right on that? Sandy's like fighting just like worm, and ends up being the giant Alaskan bowl worm. Is that what it is, right? It's like the tongue. She like wraps it up. She's like, I beat it. And SpongeBob's like, that's not it. And he's like, look at the big worm. And so Sandy is Ohio State, and the little tongue worm was Clemson. So he's like, I finally beat the dynasty in the South. And SpongeBob's Notre Dame. Notre Dame's like, Nah, dude, that's the dynasty in the South. And the giant worm, she's standing in the mouth of the giant worm, and the giant worm is Alabama. And that couldn't have been more true. I was totally on board with that. Alabama was easily the best team in college basketball this year. 12-0, 13-0. Ohio State, I'm sorry, 5-0. Statistically, I don't have the statistics. That's one way to win an argument. Is it's so much easier to go 5-0 in football than 12-0. I mean, just statistically in football, it's hard to win that many games in a row. Alabama did it easily, and Ohio State just wasn't there yet. They were everyone was hyping them up because they made the college football playoffs. The Big Ten had to change the rule just to let them in the playoff. So I think it was just like a little hype to get viewers. I don't think it was ever going to be close with Alabama. And it's easy. I know it's easy to say that after the fact, but I was kind of trying to get to that once we got to the championship, like with that meme, and it's a weird way to do it. But I didn't think it was going to be close. And here's how you know. I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke up Alabama. They lost the Heisman Trophy winner halfway through the game in the third quarter. Still, what I mean, it wasn't even close. It was crazy, and it actually happened. Coincidentally, Alabama in basketball, I believe it was against Kentucky, they lost a couple star players and still won. So Alabama can just, in both sports, lose their best players and still win games. Alabama's on a roll. If you're an Alabama fan, football, basketball is not nearly as good, obviously, but they're still playing really well. Wow. All right. So that's college football, kind of. I think that was. I think that was the only thing I had on it. College basketball. The Nickelodeon game I wanted to talk about off the top. That was kind of cool. I didn't watch it, but I saw it. I saw of it. I heard of it before it happened. I knew it was happening. Probably should have tuned in. That really seems right up my alley. And you want to get people invested in a football game, you show 90s slime Nickelodeon videos. I'm all on board. I heard it was funny. I heard it was entertaining. I heard the people that did the play-by-play were very good. I just think it's a red flag for the NFL. I think it's smart that the NFL did it. It goes along the same way of Dave Portnoy and Barstool trying to get in the TikTok crowd. He started a podcast with some famous TikToker because you're trying to get those viewers in on. I mean, it's a whole demographic. You want the young. That's like most businesses try to get young. There's specific demographics that you want to get because then they'll be lifetime fans. So the NFL is trying to do a similar thing with this Nickelodeon game. I get why they did it. I think it's good that they did it. But the fact that they had to do it, I think, is scary. And I think it leans towards a bigger picture of just kids. I don't know if it's that they don't want to play football. Kids' parents don't want them to play football. That's definitely true. Just less kids are playing football these days. So the NFL is trying to, hey, let's put a game on Nickelodeon and see if we can get these kids to like football. See if these kids can cry enough and trick their parents into letting them play anyway. And it's kind of sick, but I mean, they're a business, and a lot of people get angry at a lot of things, but I think people forget that we have to boil these things down to that they're businesses sometimes. I think people really forget that 98% of the time. So not just with the NFL, that's like with everything. Another thing off the top, the PLL. I already talked about the merger and the Boston Cannons turning into now the Cannons Lacrosse Club. They dropped their new uniforms and logo and their crest and their seat, whatever, their logo. Did I say logo? What's the motto? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to my producer that's in my ear that's not. Yeah, so there's that. Do I do college basketball first? Nah. Let's wait on college basketball. Maybe 60-55, Florida State's up against North Carolina. North Carolina just squeaked back into the top 40. Dave's Dugout top 40. If they lose here, they're going to get knocked right back out. This year's been crazy. All right, let's talk about the NHL. Matt Bav, you still here live with me? I needed you. Where you at? So, Matt, if you watch this eventually, correct me if I'm wrong. Comment, let people know. Um, I really like what the NHL is doing this year. Um, so, the new format, if you don't know, let me pull up their standings again. I had it here. So the NHL made entirely new divisions. They shortened the schedule to 56 games. They are going to reseed the playoffs to just best, I don't know how to word that, best seeds. It's not going to be, like division or conference versus conference. So we could essentially get division rivals in the Stanley Cup finals. Like it could be crazy, which I think is really cool and almost kind of think it could be a thing going forward. We'll see how it goes. Um, let's see. I don't know. Should all sports do it? Maybe. I don't know. Let the two best teams play. Why do sometimes we get even in the NFL we get the two best teams playing in the NFC Championship instead of the Super Bowl? But whatever. It's how sports work sometimes, I guess. So anyway, NHL. So I didn't realize there's an odd number of teams, but I guess it's because the Seattle Kraken are soon joining. So I guess it will be even. I think next year, right? And so what they did essentially, I guess the Canadian border to America is still closed or was closed or closing in and out. I don't know if it's been closed this entire time. I used to be more up to date on that when I lived in Vermont. That was like big news that the border was closed. I don't know. But to stop the travel back and forth from the USA and Canada, they just put all the Canadian teams in one division. All 7 Canadian teams are in one division. Ottawa, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, and Montreal are all in a division by themselves. So they still named them the same. It's still Central, East, North, and West. Obviously, Canada got the North Division. The Central Division is kind of all over the place because you have Tampa Bay, Carolina, Nashville, Florida Panthers, Dallas, Columbus up in Ohio, Detroit, and Chicago. So that one's a little scattered, but then the East is just all the Northeast teams. It's Philadelphia, Washington, New York, Boston, New Jersey, New York, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. So that's cool. And then the West, all the West teams. Vegas, Minnesota, San Jose, Colorado, St. Louis, LA, Arizona, and Anaheim. I think that's really cool. We're going to see how it plays out. So there's 8 teams in each division, and there's 7 in the North Canadian division. The other thing that they did that's really different, which I'm already saw a red flag just following the Avalanche for work. Which I get why they did it, and I like it. I like it actually. They're doing 2 home games per series, I guess you want to call it, like little mini home and homes. And they're all only playing their division. So like this entire season, the Central's only going to play Central teams. The Canadian teams are only going to play the Canadian teams. The East is only going to play the East. So it's just going to be round robin-ish-esque. And so like for example, for the Avs and the Blues played to open the season. It was 2 home games in Denver. Both Blues versus Avs. Blues at Denver. There's a day in between for a break. But the Blues won the first game, and then the Avs won the second game. And my question, if I was going to try to get Matt on the pod, my question to NHL fans is, do we think that's going to be a theme? Say the away team, for example, wins the first game. Are they going to be able to win the second game too? I think that's a tough ask for a lot of teams to win 2 in a row on the road. And they're going to have to do that all season long. I mean, you're going to get 2 home games versus them eventually, but I don't know. I think that's going to be I'm very curious to see, and almost from a betting standpoint too. I'm curious. Lose the first game, you want to bet on that team to win the next one, because I think it's tough to beat somebody 2 times in a row. And by the end of the year, these teams are really going to know each other well. So it's very interesting. I am more excited for this year for the NHL than I have been in many years past. part of that is because the Rangers stink. But yeah, I think that's very exciting. And the other reason I'm excited is actually the 56 game schedule. I have always said I think the NBA, MLB, and NHL all need to shorten their seasons. I've said that 100 times. My back is like cramping up. It's killing me. But yeah, so I think the 56 game schedule is a great idea that they should keep. They will not. I don't think any of them will ever shorten their season permanently. I hope they do. I've said it before on the pod, that sometimes less is more, and I think that's why the NFL is so popular, because there are only a few games, and you feel like you have to tune in because you're missing something. The one thing I don't like about this new NHL season is there's literally hockey on from now every single night. I believe I don't think there's a break. Teams have a break, but in the NHL, I don't think there's a break until June. I think it's just we have straight hockey every single night, and I think that wears people out. It does. I mean, it's just. I think that's why football is so popular, is because you get a break and you have like a day where I got to tune into football that day. When there's NHL on every single night from now until the Olympics start this summer, that's why they're doing it. They're going to try to get out of the way for when the Olympics start on NBC. So that's kind of that. NBA talk. We'll do quick. Obviously, the James Harden trade is huge news, sweeping everybody. I've kind of come to the hot take now. Like, the NBA, man, it's like watching a soap opera. I'm getting kind of burnt out on it. It's just like, just the everybody praises it on Twitter that it's like the most entertaining sport there is. I don't know. I don't watch sports to see who's going to go join who and ditch my team when I just bought a $200 jersey and this guy tweeted 3 years ago, Rocket for life. Like, I'm not about this just fake nonsense, cynical cinema entertainment. I don't think it's entertaining. It draws headlines. It's dramatic. I don't like those things. That's just my opinion. Do I still like the NBA? Do I still think it's the best players on the planet? Yeah. I mean, am I still going to watch in the playoffs? Yes. It's like, but there's off-season, even in-season drama now with people just building super teams. I personally am not a fan of that aspect of it. It's working. It draws viewers. The NBA has been super successful. Watched Jordan doc. Ever since Jordan, the NBA has been skyrocketing. So something's working. People like it. People like drama. People like the news and drama and hatred. It all comes full circle. Hey. All right. So that's the NHL and that's the NBA. I don't even think I announced the trade. James Harden to the. Because I think it's funny, like, even the trade, like, people don't know how to. People, like, real Twitter accounts, like, I don't know if it was ESPN or. Was it NBC Sports or CBS Sports? One of them, like, literally tweeted, like, that Dennis Rodman gif from the Jordan doc. If you're watching live, I'm, like, doing the hand motions. He's like, oh, I went to get my rebound. I'm like, this. Do you rebound? I'm like, this. Get rebound. I got it here and go over here. I'm going to go down here and go here. It's like, Dennis Rodman. That's the trade that happened. It was a 4-team trade to get Harden to Brooklyn. So that's my interpretation of it, is just the Dennis Rodman rebounding over here. I'm going over here. Draft picks over here. Can I send you 2 players? Can I send people to Cleveland? Can I send people to Houston? What's going on? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Woj couldn't even fit it all in a tweet. He had to, like, make up words to fit it all into the characters of a tweet. This is after Twitter doubled their character limit a few years ago. Which was a great move. That used to be so annoying. It was so short. Whew. All right. How we doing, peeps? We hanging in there? Hanging in there. NHL, NBA, college football. I talked about it. Should we do NFL? We could. Yeah, let's do the NFL. Talk about the playoffs. See how I did on my picks. See if you listened to me. If you didn't listen to me, if you won money, do the opposite of what I say. Bet on it. Probably win big. Listen to me. You'll probably win big too. Bills Colts. That was a good game. Phillip Rivers coming down the stretch in a close game. Who would have ever thought that would happen? It's a joke. Phillip Rivers always. I mean, we thought that was a Chargers thing. Apparently, it's just a Phillip Rivers thing. Colts had the better defense going into this one. We talked about, and it played well. But the Buffalo Bills pulled it off. Who would have thought? You know, it was one of those things. I think we all kind of thought the Bills were the better team, but it's the Bills in the playoffs. Can we trust them? And that's kind of a theme coming into this week too. And I still don't know. But Bills Colts, they pulled it off. I think I said Bills Mafia, let's go. I don't know if I took them to cover. Did they cover 24-27? Were they 3-point favorites? So be looking at that for me. And actually, can I just do it? Gamecast. Did the Bills cover? They were -6, so they did not cover. They were 6.5-point favorites. They won by 3. But they won. And winning is all that matters in the playoffs. On last year, the Rams versus the Seahawks. They covered because they were underdogs. Told you to bet Rams. Told you that defense was good. Aaron Donald eats Russell Wilson for breakfast. Russell Wilson was the MVP candidate favorite for half the season. Aaron Donald sacks Russell Wilson more than any other quarterback. I don't know why that is. Part of that must be because they're in the same division. They played twice. Actually, now that I said it out loud and thought of that, that's definitely what it is. Because the 49ers haven't had the same quarterback, and neither have the Cardinals. So, yeah, that's a misleading stat. Anyway, Aaron Donald's, he does sack Russell Wilson a lot, though. I think 14, I think it might have even gotten to 15 or 16 that game. But I know he got his 14th sack versus Russell Wilson, and I think he sacked him 3 times in that game. Aaron Donald, best player in the NFL. Don't even argue it. It's not Patrick Mahomes. It's Aaron Donald. And he should get more MVP votes. He doesn't. If he doesn't get Defensive Player of the Year this year, that's crazy. Crazy talk. It might go into that category of like people stop voting for LeBron to be MVP because he wins every year. So people are stop voting for Aaron Donald to be. But it's different because it's Defensive Player. It's not even MVP. I could see if he was winning the MVP, then you'd stop voting for him. But he definitely needs to get defensive. He's not going to get MVP. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to get MVP. We'll talk about that in a second. Bucks Washington. Bucks won big. I mean, I don't think that really surprised anybody. I think a lot of us just wanted Washington to win. I don't know if we really thought they were going to. It was more of a want. Actually, it definitely was. Ravens Titans. I said don't touch this one. Ravens ended up winning by a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, it was. And I still feel the same way about the Ravens. They look like they're playing well now. Lamar Jackson seems to have things rolling, so they're scary. And I've always said that. I said you don't want to play them in the playoffs because when they play well, they're really good. But there were stretches this season where they didn't play like that. So Derrick Henry not getting it done. I don't know if that'll hurt his MVP votes, but it probably will. The voters are human, so we'll see what happens. Bears Saints. I said take Saints with the points. I think they were like 10-point favorites. They still won 21-9. The Bears shouldn't have been in the playoffs. I think we all knew that. Sorry, Bears fans. It's just that should have been the Cardinals or someone else. Bears were not a playoff team. And then Browns Steelers was one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Definitely the craziest first quarter I've ever seen. The Browns went up 28-0 against the Steelers, If you didn't watch that first quarter, it was wild. It wasn't the first snap of the game that went over. It went over Big Ben's head, and they Browns jumped on it in the end zone, 7-0 just like that. And it's like, okay, well, like 7-0 start. Steelers will probably still get it going. That was just like a fluke. Pick six. I mean, it was horrendous first quarter. And Big Ben still threw for 501 yards and 4 touchdowns and lost. The last quarterback to do that, for throw for 500 yards and lose a game, Tom Brady in the Super Bowl against Big Nick. So we all know that. We all remember that one. That was on a bigger stage, obviously the Super Bowl. But that's why I think Big Ben Hall of Famer. I think there's some people that say not, but for sure should be. I should say, I guess. I still think, yeah. My take on this was I think the Browns will lose on a last minute field goal because that's just a Browns thing they do, lose in Pittsburgh by field goal. And I still want to stand by that even though they won. I mean, when you go up 28-0, they only won 48-37. I mean, Big Ben tried to come back. They almost get like the Browns should have. I think it's hard to keep your foot on the pedal that whole time when you're up that much. So I get it, and that usually always happens in sports. But asterisk C Super Bowl versus Hawks. Hawks versus Patriots. It's hard to when you're up big. Yeah, I don't know. I asked what team's going to show up for the Steelers, the 11-0 Steelers or the what were they 1-4 Steelers, and I don't know. Both kind of showed up. It was weird. The first quarter was just, I think, an anomaly. It was a freak. like that was just absurd. Credit to the Browns. They won. They're a good team, playoff team. They, I don't know. I'm not convinced. Especially with the matchup they have. We'll get to it in a second here. First game up. Starting here in like a half hour. Got my hat on if you're watching live. The LA Rams, baby, taking on the number 1 seed Green Bay Packers, who are 6.5-point favorites at Lambeau Field. It's going to be a balmy 35 degrees. Jared Goff, I believe the stat is he's 0-4 under 32-degree games. The Cali boy, living in Cali, went to school in Cali, is now a Cali quarterback, does not fare well in the cold. But it's not going to be 32 degrees. It's going to be 35. So, do we have a chance? I don't know. I do know. The defense is going to make it close, I think. I think Rams plus 6.5 is a good bet. Not from a fan standpoint. From a fan standpoint, I say the Rams are going to win. Take them straight up. But, like I said, that's just from a fan standpoint. So, I don't know. I don't think Rodgers isn't used to Aaron Donald. Like, Russell Wilson's used to Aaron Donald and still can't solve the problem. So I think it might cause problems for Rodgers. So the number 1 defense was the number 1 offense this year. So we'll see who wins out on that one. Defense usually travels, but the number 1 offense is at home. So I think this should be a closer game on the spread. I don't think Green Bay is that good. Rodgers is in that zone where he is, I've always said, the most talented quarterback in the NFL. Is he? Now that Russ and Mahomes have been doing what they've been doing, that might be. He's the favorite to be the MVP this year. He's been playing fantastic. I think he's thrown for 50 touchdowns this year. That Packers offense is really good with Rodgers. New coach. He's got decent wide receivers that are coming back. They were hurt for some of the year. It didn't really seem to affect them. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. Packers are really good. But do they have Aaron Donald, though? So I don't know. We'll see if McVay can whittle something up on offense. That's going to be Oh, it's gonna be tricky. I'm excited though. That kicks off here in like a half hour if you're watching live. We'll see. Like I said, I think they should cover. I think it should be. I just don't see the way the Rams defense has been playing. I don't see Rodgers torturing them like they've been torturing everybody else. So we'll see if they have a run game. We'll see if the Rams have a run game. If Goff can't throw in the cold, maybe this will be like a low scoring game. Who knows? This might be something people don't expect. I think people might be expecting Sean McVay offense to score a lot of points in the past. This Packers offense scored the most in the NFL this season. I'm almost talking myself into the under right now. I'm not usually an over-under better, but I think you could do it. Then 6:15 Mountain Time. So 8:15 East Coast. We got Bills Mafia hosting another playoff game. What? That was groundbreaking the first time. Now they're playing the Ravens in the AFC divisional playoffs. Take a drink break, peeps. Cheers. Should I shoot for it? Shoot for it. Ah, let's go! Everybody drink. Let's go. Oh, drained it. I'll drink with you, people. Cheers. That was nice. You didn't see it on Instagram, but on the YouTube feed, you definitely saw it. Drano. Oh, look, and it landed. It landed right up on the couch next to my Rams hat. That was cool. I didn't think I'd make one live. Florida State up 5. Let's go, baby. 3 minutes left. I almost clapped right into the mic on you people. Broke your eardrums. My picks this week. That's what we're doing. So, Bills, Ravens. Again, Ravens. They're like one of the scariest teams in the NFL if Lamar Jackson's doing what Lamar Jackson does. I know that sounds stupid, but that's just the truth. And again, the Bills, man, they're on paper they're really good, but do we trust the Bills? I mean, they're at home. I don't know. Only 2.5 point favorites. I'm with that. I don't like that from a betting standpoint. I would not bet on that. Because that means, it's like a field goal game difference. And that's what I think. I think this is a game. I think it could be close. I just want the Bills to win. That's deciding. I shouldn't use my fandom and. Gut's telling me Ravens are going to win. That's my take. I can't change. My gut's telling me the Ravens are going to win, but I want the Bills to win. I want Bills Mafia to come on. Get another playoff win. That's it. Sunday, Browns Chiefs. Chiefs are 10-point favorites. Yikes. I don't. The Browns are good. I just don't know if they're beat the Chiefs in the playoffs good. On the road, no less. I don't know if I like the Chiefs to win by 10. I think I like the Browns to keep it entertaining, but I don't like them to win. That's my take on that. And then Bucks Saints. This spread's too close. Saints -3. A lot of people are taking the Bucks I think a lot of it is that mindset of it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. It is. But I think it's a different story when that team is really, really good. I'm talking about the Saints. Arguably the best quarterback of all time on the Saints. I'm talking about. Arguably this game has the 2 best quarterbacks of all time. That's crazy. A, that they're playing at the same time. B, that they're playing as long as 2 quarterbacks over 40 in the playoffs. I don't know for a fact, but I don't think that's ever happened before. I saw something about it. I don't know what the stat was. It's either the oldest pair or the first pair to do it over 40 in the playoffs. I hope, want, and think the Saints are going to win and cover 3 points. I The Saints swept their entire division. I get it's hard to beat a team 3 times, and I get that the Bucks have just an insane amount of weapons. But I don't know. I'm not convinced with the Bucks. Saints are the real deal, and I hope they win. All right. Phew. How long we been going, people? 45. All right. We got to wrap up soon, too, because the Baylor game's starting. People are going to start commenting the score on me and ruin it for me. Oh, wait, no. 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Oh, I thought it was 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, let's go. Oh, I got plenty of time. Oh, let's chill. All right. We're taking a shot for that. I got more time than I thought. Oh, front of the rim. That's me. You guys drink if you want to. If you're just tuning in, a little coffee, Kahlua, whiskey rum combo. Hashtag college game day. Florida State up 77-73 with the UNC with the shot and the offensive rebound. Just kidding. Florida State's got it. 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Oh, what a good game. What a good game. It's actually surprising. It's Florida State at home. You'd think they'd be winning by more. I mean, it looks like they're going to cover, but I thought they would win by more. They scored 105 points the other day. Crazy. Should we do some college hoops? Some shooty hoops? Favorite sport. Best sport there is, people. First thing with college basketball is there are 9, technically. I don't count it. But shout out to Joey Luce, who makes those awesome maps on Twitter. The imperialism maps, the undefeated maps, they're very cool. County by county. Very cool. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my Twitter. I retweet it all the time. I used to retweet it more. I retweeted it a couple days ago. When we got down to single digits of undefeated teams. So now there's 9 undefeated teams he's counting. I would say there's 7. Because the word undefeated to me means you haven't lost a game, which I guess is technically true when you're 0-0. But you haven't played a game either. So, of course you haven't lost one. I wouldn't count that as undefeated. That's just haven't played. I don't know how to... I don't know. I don't count that as undefeated. That's not an undefeated team. Undefeated, you should be 1-0. So, here we go. There's 9 technically undefeated teams, and this is also... I don't know why you're not counting all the Ivy League teams, I guess because they don't have any games scheduled. I guess the other 2 teams at least have 2 games scheduled, but haven't played a game yet, which is crazy when we have other teams who have played like 15 games already. Obviously, you have Gonzaga at 13-0. You have Baylor at 11-0. We have Michigan now at 11-0. The Drake Bulldogs are 13-0. Winthrop, 13-0. Siena sitting there in the MAC with 2 A's at 5-0. So they're like almost an asterisk too. They got to get a couple more wins to get on the same page with all those other guys in the double digits. Then you have the 2 teams. Loyola and American University are 0-0. Haven't played a game yet, but are scheduled to. So technically, I guess they're undefeated. I don't really count that. And Alabama A&M is 2-0. They've only played 2 games this season. So I would draw a line at Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, Drake, and Winthrop. 5. There's really 5. And then Siena's 5-0, and Alabama A&M's 2-0. I you gotta get to 10-0 for it to be a big deal. It's like okay, you've won 10 games in a row. That's like, okay, national news, let's go. Drake's there, Michigan's there, Baylor's there, Gonzaga's there, Winthrop's there. Winthrop's not getting the credit for it though. Winthrop's still 104 in Ken Palm. Yeah, so I don't know. So that's your brief update of undefeated teams in college basketball. That's where I wanted to start. Also, probably the biggest headline that you'll hear on ESPN, or if you tune into something brief to get just an update on college basketball, they're going to talk about the Blue Bloods. Because why? Those are the biggest fan bases. That's what people care about. When you think college basketball, name 3 teams. What teams do you think of? 2 of the 3 are probably Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, Indiana, Kansas. I went out of order, but those are the teams you probably think of, right? Kentucky, Duke, and North Carolina, and Kansas are probably the 4 that you think of. All 4 are having a down year. All 4 this week could not be in the top 25 of the AP poll for the first time since 1961. That's before, no offense, my parents were born. Not that they're old, but we have not seen an AP poll with just 3, not even counting North Carolina, just Duke, Kentucky, and I should have this up. I don't have it. Not Kansas. Oh my God, why am I blanking? Holy cow. It's not Duke, Kentucky, and Carolina. Oh, someone help me. Oh, is it Michigan State that I'm forgetting about? That's bugging me. Kentucky, Duke, and Michigan State. Is that the trio of the stat that I just messed up? Kansas. It's Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State. Yeah, I mean, either way. Yes, because that's the Champions Classic, is Michigan State, Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas. Okay, so that's the 4 majors in the Champions Classic. Just starts the year normally, pre-pandemic. So yeah, it's the first time Michigan State, Duke, and Kentucky have not been in the AP poll. Sorry, it technically hasn't happened yet, but it should and it will. The only reason it didn't happen last week is because Duke just hasn't been playing games. I'd only played 5 games last week because they've been on pause because of COVID. So, the C word. No. Anyway, Duke's 5-3 now. They lost another game, so they'll drop. They're even 26 in Ken Palm. They're not even in computer metrics. They're not in the top 25. So, anyway, the point is, the best teams in college basketball not only are not at the top like we're used to, them being top 10 teams, they're just not good. They're not good. I mean, even Carolina is 8-4, and they're losing to Florida State right now by 6, by 7, with 7 seconds left. So they're about to be 8-5. And I didn't have them in the top 40. I put them at 40 because they beat Syracuse the other night. And now they're going to drop out of the top 40. I don't have them in the top 40. I don't have any of the schools I'm talking about. The Blue Bloods that are usually always in our top 10. I don't have any of them in the top 40. I don't think. Kansas is the only exception. Kansas is the only blue blood right now playing well. Carolina, I had at 40. Michigan State, out of my top 40. Kentucky has been out of my top 40. And Duke just fell out of my top 40. You could make an argument they should be 30, 35. Even maybe 27 something. They shouldn't be in the top 25, though. None of these teams are top 25 worthy. I don't even have top 40 worthy. And they're usually always consistently a top 10 program in the country. And they just haven't been that yet. It's a very weird year. People are talking about all three not making March Madness. One of them is going to turn it around. I heard people have most faith in Michigan State over Kentucky, Duke, and Michigan State. Carolina is kind of like we have most faith in Carolina, but they don't count because they're doing a little better than the other three. I agree. So that's tricky. If I had to pick one to make the NCAA tournament, it would be North Carolina, but I think that's cheating. If I had to pick one of the three, I almost want to say Kentucky. They almost have played the worst, but they're also turning it around, and I almost trust them to win the SEC tournament at the end of the year and just get the auto bid, even if they weren't going to make it. I can picture Kentucky having not a good enough record to make the tournament and then winning whatever it is, 3, 4, 5 games in a row in the tournament, in the SEC tournament, and getting the auto bid for the SEC. I think it's a very reasonable possibility. The ACC, I think Louisville and Florida State have actually jumped to the top of the ACC. So I don't, and Virginia. Virginia's picked to win. So I don't think Duke and Carolina, they could do it. Obviously, it's Duke and Carolina. They always have a chance, and they're always talented. So, but for Duke and Carolina to beat, two of those three in Florida State, Virginia, and Louisville, A, they would earn their spot then in March Madness, and B, that would be a very hard thing to do. So, as this happens with everything else, blue bloods take over the conversation. I even started with it, and I try not to normally, but we have to talk about it because this is unheard of. That they are all so poor, and the only thing I can think of, is the youth and this pandemic affecting young players. It's just crazy that it's happening to all of them at the same time. I can see one having an off year, Kentucky having an off year, or Michigan State having an off year, or Duke having an off year. The fact that all three are having an off year at the same time, obviously unheard of, first time since 1961. Wow. That's your blue bloods. Let's jump into what happened last week, and then we'll talk about today. Illinois had one of the craziest games. Speaking of crazy games, Browns, Steelers, this might have topped it. Illinois was down. I want to get the score right. Hang on, I'm sorry. Oh, they're playing again right now, actually, too. Fantastic. Fantastic time for the computer to freeze. Okay, that's cool. That works. Whatever. Didn't need you anyway. Okay. So anyway, Illinois, I just wanted to get the halftime score right. I know the final score. 28-43. Why did you just flip? I wasn't even touching the mouse. Illinois was down 28-43 at halftime. Okay? 28-43 at halftime. This is Illinois. They're a top 10 team all year. They've been falling out. They're actually falling down at like 25 in my rankings, which is lower than everybody else. But because of things like this, you can't be down double digits at half. They're very just inconsistent. They can play. People were picking them to be a Final Four team in the beginning of the year. I was one of them. I was very hot on Illinois. I think I had them top 5, like week 2, in the beginning of the year, and they are just so, I don't know what it is. They're so not consistent. It's crazy. I mean, they're down 28-43 to Northwestern. Granted, Northwestern was leading the Big Ten at a time, but I think we all kind of knew that was just a scheduling thing. The time of the moment. I don't think anybody thought they had a chance to sit at the top of the Big Ten for long. And now here we are. They've lost like 3 or 4 in a row. Illinois ended up winning this game. They were down 28-43 at halftime. This is the impressive part isn't that they won. It's by how much they won by and how little Northwestern scored in the second half. They won 81-56. 81-50. They were down 28-43 at half. So Illinois only went from 43 to 56 in the whole second half. And Illinois went from 28 points to 81 in the second half. An incredible comeback. I don't even have the stats because there's just so many that like just hasn't happened and blah 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 blah. 40 points plus 40 plus team hasn't scored 15. Like you know how specific stats get. Incredible. So if Illinois plays like the second half, they're fantastic. They're top 10 good. And I agree with that. But they play like the first half, they're terrible. They're not a top 25 team. So I find them very hard to rank. And granted, I did drop them a little lower, but they've lost 4 games. Most of them the good teams. I mean, like, what was like the Baylor loss? Baylor smoked them, won by double digits. So I don't know. I don't know, and that makes Illinois very tough for March Madness because they can beat anybody and they can clearly lose by double digits to anybody too. Very scary. Very scary stuff. Not in a good way. Michigan minus one specific player at Texas that I'll talk about. Michigan's a story, and minus the Blue Bloods not being good, Michigan's the positive story. The most surprising story. That's the word. Michigan is the most surprising story in college basketball this year. Michigan wasn't ranked in the preseason polls. They weren't even close. And now, after a big win, have jumped to number 3 almost unanimously. Michigan is very, very good. It's not a fluke. So the hard thing with rankings is that they just started so much low. Like Gonzaga and Baylor started at 1 and 2. So clearly they've been 1 and 2 all year. The Instagram too, sorry, to jump in, I think it ends at like 59 minutes. So if this cuts off, it's nice doing business with you. Michigan was climbing. It was no fault to them why they weren't in the top 10 sooner. And when they did get in the top 10, I think it's a great sign. But I think Michigan fans were upset that they were still ranked like 7 or 8 or 9, and it's one of those things like, well, yeah, they're a top 10 team. It's a really good thing. But I get the argument was we're 10-0. Why aren't we getting the respect Baylor and Gonzaga have? And it's just the truth is that they just started lower in the rankings. It's no fault to how good they're playing. Obviously, they were playing really well, but they didn't have great, impressive wins yet. And they just started lower. But now they got the huge win over Wisconsin, who was ranked higher than them or 9 or top 10 team at the time. So Michigan jumped. I mean, they went from like number 9 to... It's tough because the AP poll hasn't come out yet, but I just look at other rankings. They're 4 in KenPom. I jumped them to 3. Gary Parrish jumped them to 3. The net ranking jumped them to 3. AP poll and coaches don't update yet till Monday, so they're 7 and 5. Sager and 4. Haslametrics has them ranked number 1, and Torvik number 3. So consensus is number 3. They're behind Baylor and Gonzaga and Baylor now. And it's just a really, really impressive thing what John Howard has done in Ann Arbor. It's really, really crazy. It's probably the story of the year. And they look good. They passed the eye test now. The Wisconsin win is what they needed. It's a long way of me saying what I'm trying to say. That they have... I mean, they were top 10 good, but they didn't have any top 10 wins or top really even 25 wins. So once they got one, that was kind of my mindset. I'll jump them to 3. Like it's warranted. That's a big jump, and you feel guilty jumping them over teams like Villanova. Villanova just hasn't played since almost Christmas. I think like the 26th. So Michigan's playing well. I mean, you have to. They're playing like they're right behind Gonzaga and Baylor. So credit to them. Oklahoma State, I feel like I gotta pat myself on the back. I don't know why people have not been talking to. They have been talking to them all year. They have the best freshman of the year, Cade Cunningham, projected lottery pick, projected number 1 pick in the NBA draft next year. Cade Cunningham, I think, is the real deal. Really great kid. Stuck with Oklahoma State when they got announced that they would be ineligible for March Madness. I guess that's in flux now. They could be now, which I hope they are. So Oklahoma State, in my top 25 that I submitted for busting brackets, I actually put them 25. I didn't really think they were the top 20, the 25th best team at the time, but I thought that they could be a top 25 team throughout this year, and they would be ranked for a week, if not multiple weeks. And it's looking that way now. I mean, they just beat Kansas, who was number 6 at the time. What was Kansas ranked? They've dropped now, but Kansas was like ranked 6th in the AP poll. So Oklahoma State, I think, will jump into the top 25 now. With that, now their game against Oklahoma today on Saturday got canceled, so there's that. But Oklahoma State, I think there are there's 5 really good teams in the Big 12, and I kind of made this argument last week that I think the Big 12 is better than the Big 10. The Big 10 is deeper. I think the Big 12 is better at the top. 5 teams in the Big 12 are very, very, very good. And that's half of the conference. There's 10 teams in the Big 12. Half of them are really, really good. Like second weekend in March Madness, good. Baylor, the obvious. Texas Tech now, especially after the win. Kansas. Oklahoma, I think, is very good. And Oklahoma State. West Virginia, still even without Oscar Schwebe. That's even more than 5. That's 6 teams if you count Oklahoma. I don't know, man. I get the Big 10 hype, but the Big 12 is much better at the top, I think. I trust the Big 12 teams this year more than I do Big 10 teams in March, and isn't that what we're all counting down for? Is that nobody's going to care at the end of March what team had 10 teams in and what team had 8. It's who made it farther. Who won the championship? Who made it to the Final Four? What teams you trust more right now? I mean, all of the rankings. I mean, I was the only in Wisconsin, but they just lost. I guess Michigan. Yeah. Okay. So Michigan's up there. So that's Michigan and Iowa versus like Baylor, Texas, Kansas, West Virginia. Yeah, no, it's close. I don't know. It's close. I almost jumped to I want to talk about the Big 12 because so many people are just talking about how much better the Big 10 is. They might be better, but it's not nearly by as much as people say. And I don't think it is at the top. It obviously is. It's 6 through. I mean, the Big 10 has how many teams? 14 teams. So they're really good. Man, we've been going for a while today. Must Bus took a hit. Got to talk about that. It's yeah, whatever. You can't win them all. I'm still hot on the Seminoles. Have been all year. Have them ranked way higher than all the other rankings, and they just beat Carolina, so maybe they'll jump up a little. But Carolina hasn't been that great this year. Virginia Tech beat Duke. That's part of the reason Duke's finally fallen out of the top 25 is because they played again and lost again. And then Texas Tech beat Texas. Was a huge, huge game. And Texas, you have to always mention Andrew Jones. I've mentioned him for years now on the podcast. A cancer survivor. Always said he was going to play in D1 again for Texas. Now he's playing for one of the... Texas was ranked number 4. One of the top 5 teams in the country. and making game-winning shots, no less, almost at the buzzer. He is the college basketball story of the year. Oh, man. What a day, huh? I mean, there's just so much going on. I can't even take it. We're over an hour and 10 in. Let's wrap this up, huh? I think that's all I had. Let's go. Quick. Let's roll through some picks and let's get out of here. Baylor, Texas Tech. Baylor covers. Hot take. Michigan, Minnesota. Whew, that's another good one. I'm going to go Michigan. Michigan's going to ride hot, stay undefeated, be in that combo with Baylor and Gonzaga. Hot take, too. I think Baylor convincingly beats Tech and joins the conversation with Gonzaga and maybe flips the script a little. The computers are the only ones that agree with me and have Baylor number one. AP poll, it seems like all the people polls have Gonzaga one, which I get, obviously. I've talked about this before. The computers like Baylor. Ohio State, Illinois, that's a good one. Let's just say Illinois win. I don't know, man. Ohio State, that's tough. Illinois. Let's say, I'm going to say Ohio State wins. And the other rankings kind of level up with me, and we drop Illinois a little bit. Arkansas, Alabama. That's a really good game. Alabama's been playing really well. Let's go Must Bus, though. Let's go. We got to ride it. Ride the Must Bus. Virginia, Clemson. Virginia, known for their defense. Clemson actually has the number one defense in the country right now. So, let's go Clemson. Let's make for a story. Florida State, North Carolina. Florida State already happened. They won. Those are most of the games most of you will care about. San Diego State, Utah State. I would like San Diego as a favorite. Utah State's predicted to win. Florida, Mississippi State. Let's go Florida. Pittsburgh, Cuse. Let's go Cuse. Cuse lost already. That game already happened. Okay, so proves me wrong. Can't even pick games that already happened. Kentucky, Auburn. Auburn's been looking good. Kentucky needs the win more, though. Let's go Auburn. And then Louisville, Miami. Let's go Louisville. Stanford, Colorado. That's a good game. Let's go Colorado. Stanford's really good, though. I like Stanford to cover if they're 5-point underdogs like they are in KenPom. Wow. All right, people. That was a long one. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in on Instagram. Get you out of here. Bang. Live on YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we'll see you.